What is up, YouTube? And today I want to talk about the new Overlord collaboration that is coming, mostly because we have some amazing units, but also because of this artifact. So this is Albedo's artifact. She's an Earth Thief. If you guys are not too sure what she does, she basically has a Asaria S3 with her S3 that will scale with her max health. She also has a passive that will make your allies suffer less damage from crits, and also a counter attack that will strip buffs and give herself a speed buff. And she also has a single target S1 that gives her CR and will also do additional damage proportional to her max HP. So she scales a lot with max HP, and she's very bulky, and she has a lot of utility with that defense break and full strip and that unbuffable, which is, by the way, on a 2-turn cooldown if you soul run this for 2 turns. Or 10 souls rather, which is pretty insane. And the biggest problem comes actually with her artifact. So this is Albedo's artifact. You can see it's called 3F. Basically, this is going to be Rocket Punch Gauntlet, which is from the Espa collab a long time ago, 2 years ago almost, except that it will scale with max HP or max health. So you can read, after attacking, you have a chance going up to 100% to deal additional damage to the target, and additional damage will actually scale with your max health. So this is the Rocket Punch Gauntlet. This is from another collab, which I do believe probably won't be releasing again, to be honest, just because it's from a girl group from Korea, and getting like recontracts with them is pretty hard, I've heard. But you're gonna see, basically after attacking with a single attack, you'll have a 100% chance from 50% at level 1, so basically the same thing, to do additional damage, and this additional damage will scale with your defense. So pretty much the same, except that this one, from what it looks like from Albedo, works on AoE as well, which is insane, makes it already better. And this one scales with max health as opposed to Rocket Punch Gauntlet, which scales with your defense. Now, obviously the defense one is better for defense scaling units. Karina is a very good user of it, because if we look at her stats really quick, if my internet will load, you're going to see that she gets a ton of base defense. And she also has an S2 that gives her a defense buff, which is very nice. Now, if we look at Albedo's, this is going to be for health scalers, right? So not for defense scalers. This will be better on like 80% of knights, just because of the fact that most knights want to scale with health, right? You have units like Crow, you have units like Yulha, you have units like even like Senya, who's a damage dealer or a bruiser, but you can actually stack her on full health now instead of attack, and put her on this artifact, and she'll do a ton of damage. That's a big problem. I think this artifact is very scary because, you know, knights are already pretty strong for the most part. Knights are a support class, so they are either very hit or miss. You either are very strong in the meta, or like decent, solid, or you're pretty useless. And the ones that are already very good, right, like I mentioned, Senya, Yulha, Last Rider Crow, even like an Arrowell, who doesn't really need an artifact, can start doing a ton of damage with this artifact without needing any damage like stats or like skills. Pretty scary. I don't really know how to feel about this. I think this is going to be one of the most broken artifacts in the game. Now, you can also make the argument that if we go back here, that Rocket Punch Gauntlet, you know how it gives you extra damage based on your defense? Well, if you look at Karina, the reason why she's so good with it is because she gets defense buffs. So defense buff actually buffs the damage of it. So you can make the you can make the argument that there is no like max health increase in the game. But the thing is, health is just a better stat than defense, because there's so much defense penetration now that it doesn't really matter. I still think this artifact will be one of the best knight artifacts in the game. Basically, if you're playing a knight and you don't need to be on Elbrus or Aureus, you can just slap them on this artifact and they'll be super, super powerful. I'm mostly worried about Arrowell using this, you know, just because she already has Escort to mitigate damage. Also, of course, Albedo with this artifact seems pretty insane because she has an AoE attack in her S2 already, right, which will also scale even more with her health. Her S3 will probably put that defense break up, and then you S1 after with the artifact, and you'll see 3 max health scaling effects, 2 from the S1 effect, and then also from her artifact, so it's probably going to be like a one-shot. So, you know, I'm not really too sure how I should feel about this. This looks pretty crazy. I think this artifact will be super broken. I'm not really too sure what Smilegate was thinking. Honestly, what they should have done is probably just re-released Karina's artifact into this. Just because most likely Karina, the Espa collab itself, probably won't rerun. So, you know, people that missed the collab have a chance to get it now. But instead they're doing it, but even better. They're making the artifact even better. and it doesn't really even fix the problem, right? Ikarina does not want to be on this artifact. SC Pillis doesn't want to be on this artifact. Those are defense scaling units, so they still want Rocket Punch Gauntlet. So they still will have to release Rocket Punch Gauntlet again somewhat if they want to balance the game still, because that artifact is super broken. And with this artifact, they have another really toxic Knight artifact that will make solely tanky units, tanks that are supposed to solely just tank, mitigate, and support, now have a way to do a ton of damage. And this additional damage, right, it works on evasion. So even if you pick evasion, your squished units will get one shot. So Savior Aiden's value is going very, very down. So yeah, I'm not really too sure how to think about this. I think it's going to be one of the most broken Knight artifacts in the game. But yeah, before we end the video, let's actually look at some Knights real quick and see, what units could actually abuse this pretty hard. So the first one I mentioned is Crow. My Crow's not built, but he's a very good Aureus holder because he will mitigate for your team. But the best part is he already has built-in mitigation for your team with this defense buff. But the thing is, the reason why you like him on Aureus, mostly for Guild Wars, is because of the fact that he can actually soak damage for your team, get low enough even when people ignore him, and then rip his S3. Now, if you actually put him on the new artifact, you either have to kill him because he's going to be walking you down with Provoke and just doing a ton of damage with the artifact anyways, or you ignore him and he will just keep doing damage with the artifact. So if you focus him down, he will just S3 when he gets low enough, which is super annoying. And if you ignore him, he's just going to be provoking and doing consistent damage as a knight that is meant to, support. Another good option to use that artifact on is like something like Summer Break Charlotte. Now, obviously she wants to do a lot of damage, but with this build, you can actually probably build her on 100% crit and maybe like 220% crit damage instead of full crit damage. And you can just make her very tanky, and she's super annoying because you can do a ton of damage with that artifact if you stack her on health, and she has an AoE attack that can actually defense break. So a lot of possibilities. Falcon or Clary will probably be one of the best users for it, even though she likes Rocket Punch Gauntlet. Her healing actually scales with health, so most people like to put her on health anyways. The bonus damage on her S1 with defense is pretty low, so she's a very good option with it. She can cycle. She has the same S3 basically as Albedo, although it's Provoke instead of, the Unbuffable. Very good option for her as well. Another option could be like Senya. Like I mentioned, I think she'll be a big problem. Right now, you have her on her own artifact with high attack. With this new build, you can stack a lot more health, make her very bulky, and she can actually do probably less damage, but she'll be a lot more tankier and will be able to be a lot more annoying because she has a ton of provokes into her kit. So a lot more options, right? Bellion is probably going to be insane on this artifact, right? Build her on full health anyways, and she'll do a ton of damage. I think Bellion will be one of the most popular ones to put this artifact on. You don't even really want to run her on Elbrus anymore because people always pick things that counterattack. So I think what you'll do now is just build her on like full health, like I kind of have right now, but instead of counter, maybe like health sets. You can push her to like 34k health with that artifact and she'll do a ton of damage. Even Unbound Knight Arrowell, very annoying with it because of escort buffs. You can see what I mean. It's not like confirmed that these units will be problems, but we have like so many units right now that are already very good and scale very well with health with their kits that could potentially abuse this artifact. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this artifact. I think it's a pretty scary artifact to come to the game. I think it'll be super broken unless the modifiers are super low on it. But to be honest, I don't think they will. I think it'll be very similar to the Rocket Punch Gauntlet. And I'm like especially scared for Bellion using it. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys think I'm overreacting or what you guys think about it. And I'll see you guys next time.